Mr. Wade told you that they had sex at that office, though, correct?
I don't recall him stating that, no.
You don't recall it?
No.
So it's possible he did say that. You just don't remember one way or another?
I do not remember him saying that.
Was 2 pages of text messages between you and Miss Merchant, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, the first page starts off by saying, Miss Merchant, like, just date, don't hire him. Do you think it started before she hired him? You see that?
Yes, I see it, yes.
And your response to that was absolutely, correct?
I'm going to object, ask and answer in cumulative.
All right, so...
Well, I think we know now, Alex, that Terrence Bradley exchanged texts with Ashley Merchant, she's Mike Roman's attorney, where he offered up a bunch of information about the relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Today, he is trying to walk that back and say that he didn't have any personal knowledge, including when the relationship started, he never saw them together, that any knowledge he had about the relationship came from a single conversation with Nathan Wade. But the defense is trying to establish you knew that this woman represented a defendant in the Fulton County RICO case. You knew why she was asking you these questions. She even gave you a draft of her motion to disqualify. And if there had been something patently false in there, you're a lawyer. You would have told her as much, wouldn't you? And he at one point said, well, I can't say I would or I wouldn't have. But they have established that he fully understood what they were doing with the information that he provided, and that he has an obligation to tell the truth today. And the bottom line, Alex, is there really is no in-between. He was either lying and or speculating when he confessed to Ashley Merchant by text, or he is covering up for D.A. Willis and Nathan Wade now.
All right, guys. So once again, we got to follow up on the evidentiary hearing involving Miss Fani Cash Only Willis and Mr. Nathan Hot Dog Wade, because today the star witness, Mr. Terrence Bradley, Mr. Nathan Wade's ex-colleague, testified today under oath about what he knows about this relationship between Mr. Nathan Wade and Miss Fani Willis. Specifically, when did it begin? Now, the reason why this guy was the star witness is because he is the whistleblower that sent the bombshell text messages to the Trump attorneys, basically signaling that, yeah, there was a relationship between Mr. Nathan Wade and Miss Fani Willis before the Trump RICO case began, which would be an indication of a conflict of interest. And this guy signed off on text messages, emails, and documentation before this evidentiary hearing, basically stating, yes, this relationship began back before Fani Willis hired Nathan Wade to be on the Trump RICO case. Now, all of a sudden, that the evidentiary hearing is happening, this guy doesn't want to talk, okay? Apparently, he got a case of amnesia, okay? He caught the Joe Biden, right? He just has forgotten everything that he told the Trump attorneys. And now he doesn't want to talk, okay? He's basically saying that he doesn't remember anything at all, really, and he has become useless, so to speak, okay? And that is basically the gist of what happened today in today's hearing, because he was forced to testify after the last evidentiary hearing in which he basically said nothing, and he cited attorney-client privilege as to why he couldn't say anything. He spoke with a judge privately. The judge determined that, no, you're actually misunderstanding how that works. You need to testify under oath again. So now he's back on the stand testifying, and we really didn't get much out of him this time around, because once again he claims that he didn't know, or he has no information in regards to when the relationship began, despite the fact that this guy tipped off the Trump attorneys in the first place. But according to him, he was just speculating at the time in which he signed off on all of these documents. He sent these text messages confirming that the relationship was in existence before the Trump RICO case started. Take a look.
When you told me that their relationship started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton. Where did you obtain that knowledge from?
I was speculating. I didn't have a no one told me I was speculating.
No one told you that?
No one told me that.
You were speculating based on things that had been told to you or things you had observed?
So I'm going to object as to the nature of this line of questioning, because the witness has made it clear he was speculating as to how or what he knew. And if it's speculation, it's inadmissible before this court.
All right, but the motivations for his reason for speculating would be admissible, so I'll overrule that.
Thank you, Judge. Was this speculation, when you told me that, was that based on things that had been told to you and things that you had witnessed?
I never witnessed anything. So, you know, it was speculation. I can't tell you anything specific, if that's what you're asking.
From Ms. Merchant.
Yes.
As the attorney for a co-defendant.
Yes.
And she's asking you about the relationship. And she's clearly asking you about the timing. Why wouldn't you just have said in response, I don't know when it started?
I don't know why I didn't say I don't know.
Maybe, again, it's because you know what the truth is, and that's why you answered exactly the way you did in Defense Exhibit 26, correct?
No, I can't sit here and tell you that what you just stated was correct.
Right. What you want the court to believe, and you want the rest of us to believe, is that for some unknown reason, upon being asked a direct question about when the relationship started, you decided on your own to simply speculate and put it down in a text message as opposed to putting down what you actually knew. That's what you want the court to believe, correct?
That was a lot. So can you break that down? I apologize. You're asking me, do I want the court to
believe that instead of saying nothing, you decided on your own to speculate.
Yes, I speculated. Yes, I've stated that I speculated. Yes, sir.
Right. That's what you want the court to believe, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now.
Yeah, so you see how ridiculous this is, right? I mean, this guy basically is the whistleblower who tipped off the Trump lawyers when it comes to the beginning of the relationship for Miss Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. But yet he's in court now and trying to pretend like he doesn't really know anything, okay? And it's extremely frustrating because he looks silly and he makes Fani Willis and Nathan Wade look silly. In fact, they look so silly that even the mainstream liberal media, MSNBC and CNN, they are mocking this guy for his, I guess, lack of cooperation and testimony here, despite the fact that he is the one that initially signed off on all of this documentation saying that, yes, these two are in a relationship and, yeah, it's an issue, okay? But now all of a sudden he wants to play stupid, okay? He actually looks stupid. I actually believe that he should go to jail as well, too, right? If something happens to Fani Willis, this guy should also be thrown in jail as well, too, for this silly lack of testimony that he gave. Take a look.
Colleague and friend, CNN anchor, senior legal analyst, Laura Coates. Laura, the bottom line, do you think the witness, Mr. Bradley, do you think his testimony has undermined Fani Willis's credibility?
I think it has undermined the credibility of the arguments made by both Nathan Wade, and also Fani Willis for these reasons. First of all, here's why we're here. This person, you may recall, was already called to testify about a week and a half ago. The reason he left is because of the attorney-client privilege. Now, you know, if you are actually communicating with your attorney in furtherance of getting legal advice, it is privilege, and that privilege belongs to the client, not the attorney. The judge had what was called an in-camera discussion. That's a fancy way of saying, you and I are going to talk one-on-one with no one present. I'm going to determine whether or not your conversations that you had should fall within that privilege. The judge made a ruling. They said, look, as it relates to communications about whether there was a relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, that ain't privileged. You can testify to it. He doesn't want to be here for that reason. So now he's being asked questions about that. And now he's got a kind of convenient amnesia. He doesn't recall a lot of different details. He comes across as somebody who was gossiping with the attorney that's bringing this disqualification proceeding, that he was aware that the motion was about gathering information. And nonetheless, he disclosed that he says that they were engaged in a relationship earlier than they said. But now today he says it was all speculation, all speculation. He had no personal knowledge. And he kept using a phrase, anything I learned was from my client, which became synonymous with Nathan Wade was the one who told me. Now, there was a really important moment with Sadow. That is the attorney for Donald Trump. Remember, this is the one who is saying, look, I don't believe anything you have to say. He asked him, wait a second, you're speculating? You were asked by an attorney that you knew was representing a co-defendant in this case, and in return you offer speculation. Why not just say, if you really didn't know, I don't know? He offered no sound explanation as to why. The judge seems throughout this entire proceeding a little impatient compared to the first time we saw this entire thing. Why? Because he wants them to focus on the specific nature of the testimony. And remember, Jake, we're all here not because this is some sort of Real Housewives episode or we are just nosy. It is because they're asking to disqualify Fani Willis based on a conflict of interest that would make a defendant impossible to have a fair trial.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? It is so bad that even CNN is mocking this guy for his testimony here, where he's clearly not trying to cooperate with the defense, even though he was before in the past. So what are we looking at here in the future? Because a lot of you guys are probably wondering, okay, when is this going to be over, right? Is Fani Willis and Nathan Wade going to get disqualified, right? What's going to happen? Well, we're not going to know till Friday, but we're definitely going to know on Friday because that essentially is the last day of this hearing, and I think that the judge is going to make a determination on Friday. They also didn't deal too much with the text messages, the bombshell phone data that came out showing that Nathan Wade was, in fact, pulling up to Fani Willis's crib over 35 times, clapping them cheeks and leaving for, booty calls and things like that. They're going to deal with that on Friday, okay? So we're going to see more about that on Friday. But as of today, where are we at? Well, first we have to get back to how we got here. Well, disqualification. What would disqualify Miss Fani Willis and Nathan Wade? Well, we have to show that Fani Willis actually financially benefited from this alleged relationship that she was in with Mr. Nathan Wade. Well, we know that she did because we have proof and evidence that she went on these vacations with Mr. Nathan Wade, in which, again, she did benefit from the taxpayer dollars that were being paid to him that he received as a result of being on this case. Okay, Mr. Nathan Wade got paid to be on the case. Miss Fani Willis benefited. They could not prove that Fani Willis actually paid Mr. Nathan Wade back. If they could actually prove that, then this whole case would be over, right? But Miss Fani Cash Only Willis couldn't even provide one bit of proof and evidence that she paid Nathan Wade back. Had she done that, this would be over, right? We wouldn't even be doing this right now, okay? But she can't, which basically suggests that she is financially benefiting from this relationship that she had with Nathan Wade. And her only defense against this is that, well, take me at my word, right? I'm an honest person. You can believe me. I paid this man back, okay? I keep tens of thousands of dollars in cash in my house, okay? Because that's what my daddy taught me to do, okay? And if you don't believe me, then you're racist, okay? You are racist and you're sexist and you hate black women, okay? That's essentially the argument from Miss Fani Willis and the prosecutors, okay? However, their credibility is under question because they seem to be lying to the court. And that's why this testimony about when their relationship began is so important, because essentially what they're asking the judge to do is to believe them at their word in regards to whether or not Nathan Wade got paid back, whether or not Miss Willis is financially benefiting from this relationship that she has with Mr. Nathan Wade and putting him on the Trump RICO case. Okay, so now their credibility is in question because you have witnesses and these text messages these phone records that show that no, these people are not credible. She lied under oath about when her relationship with Nathan Wade began. So why should you believe her when it comes to whether or not she paid Mr. Nathan Wade back? Okay? Why should you believe her? Now, we all know the obvious motivation for why she would lie to the court about when the relationship began is because she did not want it to appear as if there was some type of improper relationship or some type of conflict of interest that would ruin the Trump case. So we all know her motivations for lying, okay? And she appears to have lied based off witness testimony, at least from one witness who, doesn't really have a reason to lie. And then you got this other guy who apparently, I guess he's being threatened by Miss Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Okay, I mean, this guy's career is basically over. Terrence Bradley, he's getting accused of all types of stuff like SA and a bunch of other crazy stuff. His career is probably over, so he's probably going down with them. He's probably calculated that the best thing to do is to try to save them, and hopefully he gets saved. I'm not sure exactly what's going through this guy's head. He appears to be scared, but even without his testimony, right, even though we know that he's clearly and obviously lying, and he already has submitted text messages basically confirming that the relationship began before the Trump RICO case. Regardless of that, we have text messages, we have phone records that hopefully the judge will accept on Friday to suggest that, hey, these people are not credible. And Fani Willis cannot prove that she did not financially benefit from this relationship with Nathan Wade and putting him on this Trump RICO case. And if that is the case, if that's the case, it's basically going to come down to the judge whether or not he believes that Fani Willis actually paid Nathan Wade back. And it seems like from the testimony, the evidence that we have, that there is no reason to believe that she actually paid him back because she lies, right? She lied on the oath to the court about when the relationship began, and she's essentially been lying about this the whole time, her and Nathan Wade, okay? Which could be enough for the judge to say, you know what, you're disqualified, right? There is clearly and obviously a conflict of interest here. You're disqualified. Now, that opens up another can of worms if it is found that she lied under oath, in which she could be subject to criminal charges, perjury, because lying under oath is a crime. And that's a whole nother kind of topic that we could explore in a later video. And hopefully it gets to that point. But in regards to whether or not she will be disqualified, I honestly don't know. It just really comes down to what the judge believes about whether or not Miss Fani Willis actually paid Nathan Wade back, okay? Whether or not she financially benefited. I personally think, based off what we saw so far, what we've seen, what we've heard, I mean, it's clearly and obviously she personally benefited, that there's a conflict of interest here and that she should be disqualified. But then again, I'm not the judge, right? I don't know, okay? But what I do know is that on Friday, we will find out, we will know what the judge thinks and whether or not Miss Fani Willis will remain on this case. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.